Welcome to the review of the Eastrock ODRIVE-II, £15 odd on Amazon. So I thought I'd give it a shot, something to review, something to do. So the amp is on the clean drive, on the clean channel, apologies. It's got two switches, a hot and a warm, level, tone and drive. I've been playing around with it and it doesn't have a lot of gain on tap, but it's a bit nasally. So this hot and warm really just dulls it, to be honest. So my obvious thought was, well, sounds a bit sucky. What if we try and use it like a tube screamer? And that is what we're going to do. So I'll give you the drive channel here. So this is the drive channel on the amp. Engage. So in that sense it works quite well. Anyway, I wanted to do something else as well. Let me just switch this noise off. Because these items are so cheap, I was thinking, let's quickly undo the wee bastard. See what's inside. Because if they're this cheap, what's the quality like, you know what I'm saying? The reason I'm doing this is because, think about it, now we've got the Amazon Basics range coming out, and you know, they're made by NUX, and although this stuff always works, I mean, these are all the same in my opinion. Moore, E&O, maybe not Joyo, NUX, all these, they all look exactly the same. They all have the same bad descriptions, etc, etc, etc. And what I'm noticing off the bat is that they're using the slightly better jacks, and it looks quite neat in here. I don't see a different brand on it, because I wouldn't be surprised if these are also just OEMs, realistically, that this Eastrock is just a branding name. This one actually kind of reminds me a little bit of the green machine or something I had from, I think it was Moore. It was supposed to be a tube screamer. And it kind of sounds a bit the same, so it might just be a copy of that. But I mean, looks absolutely fine. Neat and tidy and all that stuff. So no obvious kind of like overly cheapness. Which is always good. Now, that actually gets me to a point, if you don't mind me rambling on for another few minutes. There was a great JHS video last night. I think it was like a live stream, and they were talking about the Amazon Basics line, and they made quite a few good points. You know, now JHS, as they are, they'll just cover everything. Doesn't matter if it's their pedals or not. They just chat about things and cover things, and I like that. But this goes back to a video that I've made ages ago, and it's really about the throwaway culture. Now, I don't want to say I'm in two minds, because I'm not, but I do understand the benefits of having something cheap, because it means a lot of people can afford it that couldn't otherwise, and it might usher in a set of people who would have otherwise not been able to start their guitar journey and maybe even become famous musicians and all that, because they actually had the ability to start, if you know what I mean. And what I mean by that is buy a guitar for cheap and get some effects for cheap, stop messing around and start on this whole guitar crazy journey that we're all on, and that's why you're watching this video. And at the same time, it conflicts with my anti kind of consumption ideals, that the world has become so cheap that we just buy shit and throw it away. So I'm a bit conflicted. I can see both sides. It's nice to have these kind of cheap pedals about, which allows people to afford them. And they're good. I mean, I've had quite a few of these. I've even reviewed quite a few of these, and they work perfectly fine. I mean, some of these are even cheaper than the Behringer ones. And dare I say, I think that these kind of things are actually slightly better quality. They're true bypass. And I don't have a problem with buffered pedals, but the Behringer buffers, in my opinion, are just the most sucky things that have ever existed. But when it comes to these pedals, they're easy, they're small, they do what they're supposed to do. I just don't want them to be a consumer kind of driven thing where you just buy the stuff because they're cheap. The cheapness should be so that people who don't have money for the big expensive stuff can afford a way in to things. That's the way I see it. Whereas if you make something so cheap and just flood the market, it just becomes like a consumer free-for-all, like IKEA stuff and all this kind of Walmart stuff. It's just like you walk in there, it's cheap, so you buy it. You don't need it. And because you're buying it, they produce more of it. So it's more plastic and it's more this and it's more cheap labor in China and it's more stuff being flooded in and it's more wasteful. It's just constant. And so that is the, in my opinion, the flip side of this. Whereas on the one hand, I'm more than happy for cheap stuff to exist. And I don't even care if it's made in Timbuktu, China, or I don't know, Zimbabwe. It just doesn't matter. It's everybody needs a job and an income. It's not about where it's made. It's more about my fear about the consumer side of it. Anyway, that is it. Thank you very much. So this was the Eastrock ODRIVE-II pedal. Thank you very much.